Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Greg Slozik, and I'm completing Module 10 for EDL 852, and this is discussing 10 learning norms. So before I go through each of the 10 in detail, I would like to say that listening to that video, I think that really resonated with me and my educational philosophy. I think that all 10 of those sections of the video, I think that those are all taken into account in IB World schools. And I think that if you were not taking those into account, that you would not be capable of maintaining a job as an international educator. And so I'll go through and talk a little bit about how each of these apply to my current job and past experiences that I've had as a teacher, a coach, and a mid-level leader. And then I'll talk a little bit about some of the ways in which I would, as a building leader, try to build on these practices and maybe to add value added to them. Okay, so first one, relationships. So at Chadwick International, the basis of who we are as professional educators is really founded on the notion of building strong relationships. And so I chose this picture. It's of my basketball team from last year. And so if you look at this picture, you can see it's not just a basketball team. Like we're a family. We play numerous tournaments within the country, and we were working towards doing an international tournament to Southeast Asia. Within this, too, I teach most of these boys. I know all their parents. I'm on a first name basis with all their parents because the school is a community, and the community is very much based on relationships. And so, although I'm using this one example of the basketball team, I do think that it really permeates throughout international education, and in particular in the IB. The IB really does focus on, and so does Chadwick, on the fact that you're much more than a teacher. You're a language teacher. You're a culture teacher. Life skills, super important, especially within the Korean context. Good modeling and helping students to understand who they are within their local context and where they're going in their global context. That takes a lot of trust, and that trust has to be built on firm, solid relationships. Relevance. So the programs that we run, we're a full IB continuum school. I put this up here because IB learning is authentic learning, and it is relevant. It's relevant primarily because of the fact that it is inquiry based. You have to know your global and local context. You have to survey kids, students, and parents to see what it is that they find important. You teach more towards skills. And again, once you get through the continuum from the PYP to the MYP, students are allowed to make a fundamental career choice. They can go down the diploma program, which is more of a traditional academic route, or they can actually take the career-related program at our school, which if students know what they really want to focus in, they can already go to places like online to SCAD, or here in Songdo, we have access to a global campus with George Mason and SUNY, as well, among other, University of Utah, where I know students who will do a couple traditional courses on campus, and then they're doing, robotics, or they're doing fashion design. And so the program itself is meant to know who the kids are in their local context and provide opportunities for them to either stay where they are locally or give them access to job opportunities, and university acceptance beyond. Okay, time. So I put this up here. It comes from my history guide. So I'm going to use some examples directly from the curriculum, so that way it provides some context of what I'm getting at with some of these concepts here. So in the video, they talked about providing enough time or understanding, like not having to push content. I think was kind of the underlying implications to some of the things that were said. So if you look at this is directly from the history guide. I teach history and theory of knowledge. Um, and as a team leader for TOK, I'm the coordinator of that, and I'm basically team teach the history course with another colleague. We really do talk about the fact that this cycle that we have here, these three key elements starts first with concepts, then we work on skills, and then we go to content. And so the content piece is last in the circle, all right, and that's for a reason. Although there is a lot of prescribed content, if you understand concepts and skills, that's much more important than getting through all the content. And so I think it's pretty unique. If you look at other competing curriculums, I think that this actually would not necessarily be the order in which these things would be in alignment. And so with that said, we have the opportunity as professional educators to kind of understand our kids and go at pace to suit their needs. And I think that as a building leader, that I would want to make sure that I was at least teaching a class, so that way I was in touch directly with teaching and learning, and I understood the ways in which teachers need to be flexible in order to fulfill the needs of kids. And part of that is obviously pacing and the time that's spent on mastery of content versus the other two of concepts and skills. Timing. Okay, so I use this picture here kind of as an abstract metaphor for what the school year can look like sometimes, especially for kids. Within the diploma program, it's an incredibly rigorous college preparatory program. And after teaching this for over a decade and a half, I've noticed that one of the biggest things that you can really impart to kids beyond the academic skills are the approaches to learning, in particular resilience and self-management. And so we explicitly teach these things. As a building principal, I would want to make sure that this was something that we would go through professional workshops to talk about how we teach self-management skills. How are these affectual skills being worked into our formative lessons, and how do we reflect and see best practice in incorporating these things, obviously within the classroom, but also with integrating them into our advisory and into our other programs as well. And so timing, I think, again, is something that is taken into account very much so through the approaches of teaching and learning in the IB. Play. One of the things that can happen in a college preparatory type of program that a lot of our kids in the diploma program are in is that you can get overly fixated on making students assessment ready. There are times where you need to take the foot off the gas and allow the kids some choice and make things fun. So this is an example. I had a lot of kids who were very much into visual arts one year when I was teaching, and we were reading kind of a challenging, dry book on the Russian Revolution. And so the kids decided that they wanted to do a mural project. And so we did a mural project where the students created these cartoons of Stalin and Trotsky, and they had quotes, and then we kind of acted things out and did a different types of video recording to kind of get into the minds of what was different historical, different characters in history were going through, and instead of sitting down and like doing high academic source analysis and essay writing. And so this is something you can't do all the time, but it is something that I think I would encourage within a diploma program in NYP, building that you have to make sure that you do allow time for authentic learning, and a lot of times that comes through doing some playful activities like this. Practice. So again, I think that when you take a look at the this is the diploma program, and in the center is a student, the learners. This is the learner profile, and around that are approaches to teaching and learning. And then you have theory of knowledge, extended essay, and CAS. And so when you look at all of those things that are in the center, those are all components of the program that directly deal with practice, with getting to apply your learning directly. And so, I think that embedding practice into formative assessments, making sure that students obviously are assessment ready, but that you chunk your formative work and link it to the skills and concepts and understandings that are going to be embedded within the grade descriptors. I think that's really important, and it's important for kids to feel like they're in control and getting proper feedback that they need in order to be able to master. You can't, again, it's just like the same way if you're running a basketball team or a football team. Students need to be able to practice and apply the knowledge that you've imparted into them. And so, again, I think that within the programs that we run in the classroom that I run, that there's ample amount of time for students to have practice. Choice. So again, this comes from the history guide, and it's the 6 key concepts that really where the core of the course emanates from. And so again, we start with concepts, and then we work out to skills, and then into content. And so what's really important is that the students understand historical concepts and can apply skills. And then the last piece is the content. And so I always have a syllabus that is kind of to put it in Derridian terms, under erasure. I'll say that these are the ones that we did last year, and we work on the assumption that we're very fortunate that we've got a lot of funds to be able to purchase books mid-year if we needed to. And so the past 2 years we've gotten going, and students have been really excited about the types of units that we've been doing. We kept on with the type of with that content, and there's a flexibility in the curriculum to do that. And so I think that is super important. I think that's the future of education, of allowing choice for students. That's how you're going to get the types of authentic learning pieces and the lifelong learning that we aspire to doing on a daily basis for our kids. Authenticity. Okay. And so again, within our program, like, there's ample opportunities for authentic learning. This is just curricular. I'm not even talking about the things that happen outside of school, such as outdoor education, our field trips that we do, student clubs that they wind up going to the Philippines to do service, do science research in Indonesia. It's unbelievable the type of authentic learning our kids can do. But again, just sticking within the confines of the curriculum itself, all our students do a 4,000 word extended essay. They choose whatever topic they want to. They have a supervisor that helps guide them through the process of managing that longitudinal task. And so again, that's a piece of authentic academic work. It's really like one of the best experience kids can have, because they actually learn how to do research, which is what they're going to do when they go on to college. CAS is our service component, and again, students choose what creativity, action, and service components that they do throughout the 2 years. And then within my own course, students have the opportunity for about a month and a half to choose a topic to apply the skills that a historian would do to do a historical investigation. And so you can see that within the programs themselves are embedded a lot of opportunities for students to be able to engage in authentic learning. Challenge. This is not a problem whatsoever, especially the courses that I teach. our students are incredibly challenged. You can just look at this without even having a real understanding of the context to see that these are the external assessment and internal assessment components, and incredibly challenging. We award grades from 1 to 7. Um, Last iteration of or last cohort that went through in the whole world, the global number of kids who got sevens, I believe, was 2%. And so colleges know that the IB is an incredibly challenging college preparatory program. And so that is not the problem whatsoever. It's actually understanding how to make this palatable. It's challenging for teachers as well, because of the fact that you've got to stay up all night reading to prepare for a discussion with a kid who's probably going to go to Harvard or to Yale on the minute intricacies of the Guatemalan Revolution or something along those lines. And so the challenging bit is not that hard. Actually, the challenge really is getting kids to have balance, to take, especially within this particular context, to make sure that they don't get overloaded too much with focusing on this type of stuff, and making sure that they are doing their due diligence of being students, but that they're also doing their due diligence to be healthy. Application. This is a great picture. This is my first year when I was at Chadwick. I went out with into the mountains of Central and Southern Korea, and hiked for 10 days with kids. They had gone through, from middle school all the way up to grade 12. This is a grade 11 cohort that I went with. Each year they would go out and do these like mini treks out into the mountains, and they'd have to learn how to cook their food. They'd have to learn how to break down a tent. They'd have to master problem solving skills of figuring out how to traverse your way through a ravine and stuff like that. And so, again, I think that these are leadership skills. They're applied in a real world context. It's one of the great things that we have here. We have people from Outward Bound that come to help us in our programs. Again, this is only one facet of learning, but I am a strong proponent of holistic education. And as a building leader, I would support things like this of getting our kids outside of just sitting in classrooms. Obviously, with the COVID thing, that's obviously makes it a little bit difficult. But looking into the future, obviously, you can see incredible growth in character and confidence in kids who are able to go out and accomplish things that they didn't think that they were going to be able to do within the context of relationships they built with their instructors and with their teachers and with their peer group. Those are my references, and again, I really enjoyed this assignment, as I think that it's something that we should always take into account, because obviously we are here first and foremost for the kids. So thank you so much.